Well, Japan has announced a five-fold increase to entry fees for visitors next month, with authorities saying it's in line with inflation and changing exchange rates. But it does not apply to all tourists, and most Australians will not be affected. Now, to talk us through the impact of this change, we're joined by Jeffrey Hall, lecturer in Japanese Studies at Kanda University of International Studies. Jeff, good to have you back on the program. So these fees has gone up, from 3,000 yen to 15,000 yen. It's quite the jump, even if the government says it is in line with inflation.
Yes, it is quite a large increase, the first increase since 1978. So it might be a shock to people from countries that will be affected by this increase. But as you said, most Australians will not be impacted because Australia has a visa-free agreement for travel with Japan. So about 74 countries, including the United States, including Korea, including Taiwan, they won't be impacted by this. So this will mainly be a change that impacts people with citizenship from countries that do not have these kind of bilateral agreements with Japan, such as China or Indonesia.
Yeah, so, there've been lots of Chinese tourists, and that's been well documented, that have been visiting Japan in recent years for one reason or the other. So would there be a significant impact on tourism?
I think that right now it doesn't seem to be projected to have a major negative impact on tourism. If anything, this is a move that will be targeting tourists who probably already had that much money and more to spend anyway. It's a little bit less than 100 US dollars or about 130 Australian dollars. So if you can afford to fly to Japan and pay for hotels, this isn't going to completely stop you from visiting. And it also looks very good politically for a government that has been very much focused on dealing with the problem of over-tourism and wanting to raise revenues without raising taxes on Japanese citizens.
Yeah, I suppose so. Is this then, a very convenient and really easy revenue-raising exercise for at least the government's coffers?
It is. I'm not sure if the amount of money raised will be that huge compared to the increases in budget that Prime Minister Takaichi hopes for. She really wants to raise defense spending and other spending. But in terms of optics, they want to make it at least look like they have taken money from the foreigners who are perceived as a problem to Japan right now. They've also increased other residency visa fees by a huge margin. And so if they will be raising taxes in the future, they'll at least make it look like that non-Japanese people are being made to pay what Japanese voters might consider their fair share. Although I think a lot of Japanese who have heard this news don't realize that there are 74 countries that are exempt from this, and that's where many of Japan's tourists actually come from. It will impact the Chinese, but the majority of tourists will not be impacted.
Yeah, so at least from an optical point of view, is this symptomatic of the Prime Minister's, tougher approach he wants to see projected on immigration? And also, has this been sort of forced by the surging popularity of the far-right Sensato Party?
Definitely. I would say that the far-right's surge in the last couple of years has put a lot of pressure on the LDP and Takaichi to show the country that they are tough on the problems that they perceive are being caused by foreigners. And a lot of Japanese residents conflate the behavior of tourists with the behavior of immigrants. And so most foreigners that Japanese people encounter will be tourists. There's over 40 million of them compared to only 4 million immigrants in the country. So by doing something that is trying to make the tourists, under control of Japan a little bit more, it certainly is a politically good-looking move by Takaichi.
Yeah, so, and also, on another note, is there likely to be a longer-term impact on the economy? Because it looks like it does target, holiday visa holders, for instance, that may be doing the jobs that many don't want to do. So would there be a direct hit on the economy and in particular on employment numbers in Japan?
Well, for tourist visas, it wouldn't impact the economy for workers, but the limits that Takaichi has put on certain work visa types, the fees that she has increased on a lot of these work visa types, it will impact Japan's economy. Some projections say as much as 1 to 3% of economic growth is lost because of labor shortages that could be fixed if Japan accepted more foreign workers.
Yeah, that's quite the prospect we don't really see coming. Now, you've spoken about, and we've known this about public anger with over-tourism, largely driven by a weaker yen. What's happening? I mean, anecdotally, do we know if tourism numbers have come down in recent months? Is the Japan craze worn off yet?
It hasn't worn off at all. It's been going up, even with the political stress between Japan and China reducing flights to Japan. People from other countries have been making up for the loss in Chinese tourism. And there's still many Chinese people coming to Japan. So tourism is still growing every month to historic levels. And so this issue of how to deal with the huge crowds in Tokyo, the crowded trains with foreigners with their suitcases, I think many Japanese will anecdotally tell you stories of frustration where they haven't been able to get inside of a store or get out the train at the right time because confused foreign tourists who don't know the way of doing things are in their way. And so Japan really has to tackle this problem of over-tourism while also being a welcoming country that can, profit from the money that these tourists bring into the country.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, but yet, an irresistible draw card. Jeff Hall, always great to chat all things Japan with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.